Welcome to the Confident Retirement Podcast. Is doing the most important things alone a good idea? How comfy are you with your choices when it comes to life's biggest decisions? What is real peace of mind with financial confidence, and how can you get it? Kris Flammang and Picchi are the founders of LPF Advisors in Sarasota, Florida. On the show, they bring together the best and brightest minds to share with you how to have a more confident financial picture. They empower listeners with simple, common sense and financial wisdom. And now, here are your hosts from LPF Advisors.
I want to welcome everybody to the Confident Retirement Podcast. I am your host, Kris Flammang, and today I have the great fortune and honor of interviewing Ron Pepka. He's not only running a great real estate business by helping people have a better life, he's also a husband, a father, a dog lover, a golf nut, and a good friend. He's got a lot of wisdom and knowledge when it comes to real estate, and I've noticed this about him. He takes what he does very seriously, but doesn't take himself too seriously. And maybe that's why we get along so well. So Ron, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Kris. How are you today?
I'm doing great, and I'm really glad that you're here.
Well, thanks for inviting me.
You're welcome. Good to have you. So I want to start. You have a very interesting personal history with how you came to be in Florida, and you've had some really interesting jobs in the past. So briefly take me through that, and also how you found your current career.
Well, I had a career in actually telemarketing in Las Vegas for a while.
Yeah.
And we got married. My wife said she wanted to have a child, and I bought her a dog, and that only lasted so a while. So we ended up with 3 dogs. And then when the 4th time she came up to me, she said, you give me a child or I'll find someone who will. We ended up with 2 children. All right. And we decided that we didn't really want to bring our children up in Las Vegas.
Uh-huh.
I actually went on vacation to visit my dad. My dad retired from Pennsylvania to Florida, and we went there to visit. We were there one day. She says, I want to move here. So, I agreed because we didn't want to bring our kids up in Las Vegas. So we decided to move to Anna Maria Island, Florida in 1996.
So how did that lead then to you being in the career that you're in now?
Well, I had retired from telemarketing in Las Vegas temporarily because I wanted to do something different other than sales. And I was doing rehabs, buying homes, fixing them up and selling them, and I had my real estate license there. So when I came here, I had 3 choices: to sell automobiles, do some more telemarketing, or go into real estate. I looked at real estate and I thought that was the best opportunity for me at the time.
So is there anything that you wish you knew when you started out that you know now? So if you could go back and tell that person back then something, is there something you wish you knew then?
Yes, I wish I knew that the prices would go up so much because I would have invested a lot more earlier, cashed in. I wish I'd have bought 12 island houses, the minute that I could afford it. I wish I would have leveraged as much as I possibly could to glean some serious profit on the real estate investing, because it's been a roller coaster of values. When I got into the business in 1996, all the way up to 2005, the prices just skyrocketed. We were seeing massive gains. And of course, the market crashed in 2006. So, wish I could have taken more advantage of that. I did a little bit, but a lot more,
Yeah. And what do you consider to be, I want you to try to describe or explain to me in simple term, what someone gains by partnering with a knowledgeable real estate professional when they're facing a decision as big as buying or selling a home. So what do you feel like are the advantages of partnering with a knowledgeable real estate professional?
Well, first of all, I think you need to partner with someone that's going to be your fiduciary. Many agents out there are what we call transactional agent, where they represent the transaction, not the person.
Okay.
So you want to make sure that you're with an agent that is going to represent you and not the transaction or the seller if you're a buyer, or the buyer if you're a seller. So you want single agency representation, which gives you the duties of honesty, loyalty, confidentiality, obedience, full disclosure, accounting for all funds, to use skill, care, and diligence in the transaction, to present all the offers and counter offers in a timely manner, and to disclose any and all known facts that materially affect the value of the property. Yeah. So you want an agent like that. So as your fiduciary, they're going to represent you rather than anything else. And they're going to put your needs above their own, even if they don't sell anything. What we always say is, it doesn't matter if we help you now or we help you later. We just want to help you. This is not the right time to buy or sell, we'll help you later when you're ready. Does it make sense?
Yeah. And some of these decisions that people make, regarding money or real estate or what in my business with investing, I mean, these are huge life decisions that have major impacts on themselves and future generations. So you do want to have somebody who has your best interest in mind and is trying to eliminate those conflicts of interest the best that they can. So I'm curious what you like best about your business right now.
Actually, what I really, really like best is we send a survey out and we have a scale from 1 to 10 how we did basically. When we get a survey back and it's all 10s, that we just couldn't do any better. So to be direct, meeting and exceeding our clients' expectation, so much so that they would tell all their friends, family members, coworkers, just how great of a job that we really, really did. It just, I just get goosebumps when those things come up.
And is that how you generally get most of your new introductions, is from other people that have worked with you?
Well, about 60% of our business is past client referrals right now. Over time, we certainly want to increase that. A lot of people do move away, so they don't really have an opportunity to refer anymore because they don't know anymore. You're always going to have to be replacing those with new people as well.
That being said, then is, there can be some misconceptions about real estate agents or financial advisors or insurance people. So what do you consider to be one of the bigger misconceptions that the public or people have about your industry or your profession?
They think that we're all $1 million agents and we all make way too much money.
Okay.
It's $1 million agent. What does that mean?
So what does that mean? I mean, what do people think it means? And then what does it actually mean, or what it could mean?
They think that you made $1 million, but let's see, $1 million. So it actually means you made $30,000 on a 3% brokerage fee. So, which is actually below the average income in the entire United States.
Yeah. Well, and that's before expenses and before expenses, all that stuff.
And the average agent in America, we just looked it up yesterday, is making about $42,000 a year before expenses, of course. Mm-hmm. So.
Okay, and then when you're dealing with a client, you might meet with somebody for the first time. What do you typically see as being the overlooked items, the overlooked areas, or the blind spots that people miss when they're doing a real estate transaction? Okay, so let's say they're doing it on their own. They're not involving any professionals or an agent. What's something that you see as being a blind spot or things that they miss?
Well, let's say they're a for sale by owner, for example. What do you think a for sale by owner buyer does when he sees a for sale by owner? The first thing that they do?
They call them?
Well, actually, whatever the seller is asking, they're going to take 6 or 7% off.
Right, because there's not an agent involved.
Right, they're thinking, there's no agent involved, but whatever he's asking, I'm going to take 6 or 7% off. Because in other words, what happens is the buyer and the seller are trying to save the same money, and that can't happen. All right, and who does a for sale by owner? What kind of buyers do a for sale by owner get?
People who would do a for sale by owner themselves, probably.
Right, the worst of them. In other words, the services to a buyer, a real estate service to a buyer, is free. So why would a buyer not enlist the service of a real estate agent when the service is really free, because the brokerage fee is generally paid by the seller, right? Yeah. So generally those buyers are buyers that real estate agents don't want to work with, that they can't qualify for a mortgage. Yeah. They want to do a lease purchase.
Right.
Okay. They want to make it contingent upon the sale of another house, which is in another state, and they're trying to for sale by owner it themselves. What I do know is 67% of all for sale by owners transactions never make it from contract to closing.
So it gets bogged up in all the stuff that happens after they agree on a price.
Exactly. Okay. And comparing to using a realtor, 20% of all realtor assisted transactions don't make it from contract to closing.
Okay, that's a big difference.
Right, which is far better than the 67%.
Yeah.
On our team, we close 99.3% of all of our transactions.
Wow.
In 24 years, we've only lost 14 out of 2,000 transactions that we've done.
Yeah. So you've got a little room for improvement, Ron.
Right.
But not a lot. There's a little bit there. Now, you do, from experience, I know you do a great job in a first appointment, meeting with someone for the first time when they're considering using your firm to represent them. So what do you commonly see as people's biggest fears or concerns that they share with you in that first meeting? Whether they're trying to buy, or maybe whether they're trying to sell a house. What are they really afraid of? What do they share with you as being their biggest concerns in going through the process?
Right now, having a place to go if they sell, because the inventory is at an all-time low.
Yeah.
Where normally we carry about 2,000 2,000 to 3,000 homes for sale at any given time. Right now, this morning, there's 485 homes for sale.
Wow.
And that's all. So overcoming that's the biggest fear. Why should I sell? I can't, where am I going to go? That's easily solved if you do new construction, right? And also right now we're asking buyers to delay their closings while homes are being built. So there's ways to manipulate the contract.
Yeah.
Make it work in the seller's favor. Other things are, a concern is, getting the house ready in actual showing condition.
Yeah.
Getting vendors out there to make the necessary repairs. So we help with all that as well. We have a list, a bank of vendors that we qualify people that'll get out there and do the work.
Yes, that would be like services kind of going beyond just representing you on the transaction that you guys have found that have been valuable in helping people get to the goal that they want, which is either selling the house or buying it, right?
Correct. And actually selling it at top dollar.
Right. Because all that stuff's been addressed ahead of time before someone walks in there.
Exactly. So that's why in our service, we always send a staging consultant out. A lot of times we'll do a pre-home inspection before we put it on the market to address repairs. So you only can have one chance to make a first impression.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So we want that first impression when it hits the market to really just blow everyone's socks off. We don't want to make repairs later. We want to make it best way to net top dollar.
Yeah, in advance. So along that same line, can you think of a recent experience you had with a client that was very satisfying? So they had problems they were facing maybe in selling the house, what they were trying to do, how you helped them, and then how you were able to improve their situation by being involved.
Sure. We actually just had one in Kingsfield. We had a client that had an older roof and had an 18-year-old roof. And it's very hard to sell a home with an 18-year-old roof because the insurance companies won't bind insurance. So what we did is we had a roof inspection and we fully disclosed it. It did have 2 years of economic life left. She was concerned about finding a home as well. Yep. So we got her under contract. We did a long 90-day close to give her some time to look. Okay. And one of my expert buyer specialists spent 3 full days with her finding the right home. And we got her under contract and we closed both of them the same day. She was very, very happy. And it was a very difficult time in her life because her husband had just passed.
Oh, goodness.
So we took really amazing care of her, and she was very, very grateful that she had someone that she could trust moving forward.
So what could have been an extremely stressful situation and an already stressful life, dealing with the death of her spouse, you guys walked her through that and made it so it wasn't so, and it actually was the opposite. It was a good outcome.
Absolutely.
Which probably helps her to move on. I mean, move on with her life. Yeah,
go on to the next chapter.
Okay, that's great. So I'm curious, this is for you, a question for you personally. Can you think of, or do you have a first memory or experience with money? So your first memory or experience with money, it could be in the home, growing up, or anything like that. It could be when you started your first job. I'm curious what you can remember was your first experience.
One that sticks out.
Yeah, that's what I want. The one that sticks out.
I mean, we always have those first memories with, getting your pennies and going to the Millers and getting your penny candy. I'm not really thinking that's what you're after, but I have a money learning lesson. Okay, let's do that. I was working as a dishwasher when I was 16 years old, and I really wanted a motorcycle, a Suzuki RM 125. They were about $625 then. Okay. And then my mom picked me up from the restaurant, and I came home and opened the door, and there was the RM 125 motorcycle, sitting there, and it was wrapped a little bit, like a bow on it, like kind of like it was a gift. Yeah. And boy, was I excited, The next morning, she handed me a payment slip with interest.
Oh man,
she taught me a lesson. When you borrow, this isn't a gift. You're going to pay this back, and this is how you're going to make your payments. This is what extra it's going to cost you, even though. You know what I'm saying? So that's as far as money is concerned, that was a very valuable lesson. To choose to borrow money or save up and buy something cash.
Do you remember what kind of interest rate did she charge you?
I don't remember. Probably about 3%, I think.
Oh, that was pretty good.
Oh, Mom! I was like, oh my gosh, Mom! I thought you were giving this bike to me. This motorcycle, I didn't like it very much, but it was a very valuable money lesson. Kind of a good story, Yeah,
that's a great story. That's good. Mm-hmm. So kind of along that same line then, can you think of where you've seen clients fail miserably when it comes to real estate investing where they just approached it. They had the wrong mindset. They were approaching it. Their motivations were wrong, or they really got overcome with emotion and made some bad decisions, and where they've really failed in investing in real estate, either for their personal home or for money-making purposes.
What comes to mind is, how many years does it take to pay half interest and half principal on a 30-year note, Kris?
How many? It takes more than 30, right?
Well, let's say you borrow $200,000. You have a $1,200 a month payment. Making that $1,200 a month payment only, how many years does it take to pay half interest and half principal, do you think?
It's more than 15, right?
It's 21 years.
21 years, right.
Right. So all the interest is front loaded. Right. I mean, back in the day, original mortgages were 5 years. Mm-hmm. They didn't have mortgages. If you want to buy a house, you had to buy the whole thing cash. Then they started 5 years, and they went 10 years. Yeah. Then they went 15, and then they went 20. Back in 05 and 06, when the market was booming, they were talking about 70-year loans. The biggest mistake, I think, is having investors and even individual homeowners make their minimum payments on their mortgage. I think that's the biggest mistake, because again, all the interest is front loaded. Yeah. You throw on an average loan, you throw an extra $150 a month towards your principal. You can take that 30-year loan down to 17. All right. I think it's okay to borrow money and leverage money, but I just don't really want to do it any more than 9 years. I don't want to ever pay more interest than principal. You're in a pinch, just throw what you can, but just make it a habit. Every month, $100 extra towards principal. You'll, especially in the early part of the loan, because you'll gain so much traction when you go to sell it. Like a lot of VA loans, let's say they were in a flat market and values are not rising, or rising very, very little. And a VA buyer, they finance 100% and 100% of their closing costs. And then they make their minimum payments for 5 years. And then they call us up and say, hey, come on over. I need to sell my house. I got relocated. I go over there and find out that they owe more than it's worth. Yeah. And you've heard of Mission Impossible, right? We call that in the industry? No. Commission Impossible.
Commission Impossible. Okay.
Right. So we can't help them other than to short sell it. It doesn't go away.
I think it's amazing how just that small amount that you add on to the mortgage over time knocks that many years off. I commonly meet with people. We try to time the payoff of their mortgage with when they want to retire, so then they don't have that expense of the mortgage payment going into retirement. And it's amazing when you have those people that just save like $100 or $150 into some kind of an investment for such a long period of time, and they have this substantial amount of money just from doing that. It really does add up. The compounding interest can work for you, and it can also work against you, right? With the mortgages.
How much they can accelerate just by making an extra $150 a month. Then they also ask me, they say, well, do you think I should finance it for 15 years? And I say, no. I said, finance it for 30, but figure out what your 15-year payment is.
Yes, right. Have the flexibility.
But pay it like a 15-year.
Yeah.
Right. You might, come across that month where your transmission blows out and, you just need a little, it's Christmas time. Yeah. You know what I mean? You overcharge your credit cards, pay your highest debt off first, and then go back to your 15-year pace.
Yeah, that's great advice, Ron. I'm curious, what would you say has been your biggest life accomplishment? So this could be personally, it could be professionally, or it could be some of both. So biggest life accomplishment.
Well, remember I told you the story that we moved from Las Vegas?
Yes.
What I didn't tell you is that Cathy and I separated, and we were actually divorced at the time. So I've been married since 1996. We always say, I got a year off. I got a hall pass, if you ever saw that movie. Yeah. For a year. Yeah. And then we started dating again. And like I said, Cathy and I and the kids, we came to visit my dad, and we decided to move here. We got remarried here, and we started our whole new life here. Yeah. New occupation, just a whole new life. And it was just such a blessing. So I feel my greatest accomplishment is reestablishing that relationship, being a better husband and being a better person, and understanding relationships so much more than I ever did. And our second marriage is, 1,000 times better than our first. And I came from a broken home, and I know what it's like to have stepdads and all that. So, and I also know, in my opinion, when you get divorced, you just carry the same problems onto the next relationship. So the greatest accomplishment for me is understanding and, learning how to listen and being the very best husband that I can be, and actually being able to raise my children myself, and having that type of relationship and that type of life. the improvements within myself, I guess.
Yeah. Well, and that carries over into all your relationships, right?
It does.
In professionally, just having that self-awareness, knowing when you've done things that maybe you need to reconcile or improve upon, that's a big step. It's a very mature thing to do, and it spills over into other things.
Right.
Cool.
It also taught me that whenever there's a problem, look in the mirror first and see what your role in it is as well, and always be accountable to that. You see what I'm saying? I
do. So you're not only dispensing real estate wisdom here today, we've also got some life lessons, which I like.
Absolutely. Well, that's our job in real estate. We're a little bit of everything. Yeah. We're a handyman. I put signs in. I fix sprinklers. You do what you got to do to get the deal closed. There's a walk through and there's a broken sprinkler. Guess who's out there fixing the sprinkler to make sure it closes? Me. Really jack of all trades.
With a tie and a smile.
Right, exactly.
So here's a question. If you weren't doing what you're doing now, what do you think you'd be doing instead? So let's say you still had to work. Is there some job you wish you had tried or some other area of interest that you think you would want to do? I'm curious.
My first choice, of course, would always be a professional athlete.
Okay.
The Lord maybe just didn't give me the right body to do that, or maybe it was all in my brain. My greatest strength is competitiveness, which also gets me in the most trouble.
Okay.
As well, because your greatest strengths are always your greatest weaknesses, I would say. So I love competing. After I got out of high school, I did softball all the time. Yeah. And golf and basketball. Was in the city league in basketball. So I love to compete. So my first choice would have been, of course, to be some type of professional athlete if I could have made the cut. Yeah. We'll say. Second choice would probably be some other sales field. I've just been blessed with that ability to kind of see through the smoke and get to the bottom line and ask the questions that other people don't want to ask. Yeah.
Is there a unique or interesting fact about you that very few people know? Can you think of anything?
I was track champion in 83 and 85 at the Las Vegas Speedrome. 83 on motorcycles and 85 in a front engine dragster.
Were you riding that motorcycle that your mom made you buy?
No, that was too little. It was actually a 500 Yamaha.
Okay.
Many motorcycles later.
So you raced drag cars and motorcycles?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You do have a need for speed. I've come to know that about you, Ron.
Really, Kris?
So when you're trying to stay on top of the real estate market, on top of your industry, are there some specific things that you read or follow on a regular basis?
Sure. I'm always looking at interest rates, and I always do a video newscast, which you've received before.
Yeah, I've seen those. Very entertaining, very informative.
Yeah, we're always looking at the trends in supply and demand. Always letting our clients know whether it's a buyer's market or a seller's market, how they should position themselves based on the market.
Yeah, based on that.
Because we're all subject to the market.
That's right. Yes, we are. And what would you consider to be your biggest challenge right now in your business? For your business specifically, what do you think is your biggest challenge you're facing?
Well, back in 2011, there were 600 real estate agents. Right now, there are 7,200.
Wow. So that was in the county or the area?
In the 2-county area.
Okay. So right. Tenfold.
Right. Tenfold. A lot of competition, a lot of people without experience, really what it amounts to, which can make transactions a bit difficult. But it doesn't bother me because I always think in my mind, I'm going to do both sides of the transaction anyway. Mm-hmm. So in the process, I'm going to educate the new agent and get it together for both people, even if I don't represent them.
Yeah. And does that often involve maybe coaching that other side or that agent, or maybe it's a bad choice of words, but you're almost like a mentor?
Yes. To them? I just got off the phone with one.
Yeah, right.
Before I called you, I said, well, suggest this to the seller. He said, that's a great idea. So that's fine. I even tell them what questions to ask. Yeah.
Well, that's a way of giving back, I guess. And your goal is you're trying to get the transaction to the place where both parties want it.
Exactly. And also, I don't know if you knew it or not, I'm the broker and owner of Keller Realty on the water as well. So I run a real estate team and I also own a brokerage. So with a partner, I have 50% of the Manatee office and 15% of the Sarasota office. So in that mentoring process, I say, hey, you sound like a good agent. Would you mind if my team leader gave you a call and showed you the advantages of being with Keller Williams? We want to grow our office as well.
Yeah, so that might lead to some new relationships, or that would benefit them and also your business in the long run.
Right. It's always coming from a spirit of contribution, no matter who you're dealing with or what you're doing. That's kind of the way I try to live my life.
Yeah, it's consultative. So let's do this together. Let's collaborate. Let's work towards a common goal so all parties benefit.
Right. I'm not a salesman. I'm a consultant. So your needs come before any dollars do, always. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter if I help you now or I help you 5 years from now. I just want to help you, And if it's not selling or buying, it's not in your cards right now, I completely understand. I'll help you to, do whatever I can. Like it will help them to reorganize their credit or, whatever they want, however we can possibly help.
That's really good input, Ron. And I think that speaks a lot to what you're willing to do for people and going, the extra step and taking that to make sure they have a good experience. Do you think there's any question that I should have asked you, or do you have anything that you want to clarify about what you said earlier? I think you spoke quite eloquently, but is there a question you think I should have asked you?
Well, Ron, how many years have you been in business?
Okay, you can answer that. So asked and answered.
25. We're celebrating our 25th anniversary.
Awesome. Right now, who makes up your team currently?
We have 4 buyer specialists, and I'm still the lead listing specialist. So we have 5 salespeople. We have an operations manager. My son is our listings manager, and my bride, Kathy, is our contract to close coordinator.
All right. You have a very nice home office on your property where it's a cozy environment for people to visit and also for you guys to get things done.
Sure. And we bought a 5-acre property and there's 2 homes on it. So of course we have the downtown office where if we need to meet clients, and we can always meet clients at the Sarasota office.
Yes.
We have a home office where we have a big house and a small house, and the small house is about 1,800 square feet, which we converted to professional office space. So that's really the home of the team and where we do all of our phone calls and actually where I'm calling from.
So if people want to learn more about you or contact you, what do you think is what's the best way to do that? So
you can always call us directly at 941-708-3455.
Okay. And then
website? And you can visit our website, teampepka.com.
Do you also put things out on a lot of the social media sites, Facebook and or LinkedIn? And what's the name of that thing you do? Is it monthly or is it weekly? What's the name of that?
Minnesota Market Moment.
Yeah, say that 5 times fast.
Minnesota Market Moment. We're actually just getting ready to record our St. Patrick's Day. You should see the props I have,
Yeah. I encourage everybody to check that out if you can access that. They, like I said, they don't take themselves too seriously, but they take what they do seriously.
Right. It's informative and funny.
Yes.
That's our goal anyway. What do you think?
Absolutely. Yeah, informative. It's just the right amount of time. It gives you the info you need, and you have a little smile at the end too.
Right. What you need to know in 120 seconds or less. We guarantee it.
We guarantee it.
That's right.
Okay, so Ron, I do want to thank you very much for being with me. It's been an honor to interview you for the show. And I can say from experience personally that working with Ron and his team is a pleasure and a great example of going the extra mile to get the results that people are looking for. We've been here with Ron Pepka from Team Pepka at Keller Williams Realty. And I want to thank all of you for tuning in to the Confident Retirement Podcast brought to you by LPF Advisors, where we bring the confidence of everyday people on the road to retirement to another level, one show at a time. See you later.
Stay safe and be well.
You've been listening to the Confident Retirement Podcast with Kris and Mark from LPF Advisors. For more information on them and retiring confidently, please visit lpfadvisors.com. If your ears are pleased and your mind is now at ease, do share the program with your friends and subscribe wherever podcasts are found.